Hello, everyone. This is Mr. Blaine Baraboo, and then in this introduction video, I will be introducing to you our course on the history of Western civilization. So, welcome to Western history. In this presentation, we will be going through three main questions for us to answer, which is, why study history? How do you study history well? And why Western history? One interesting fact is that history happens to be a Greek word, historia, which means inquiry or knowledge from inquiry. The reason why this is important to note is because as human beings, we desire to know what is true. That is one of the many elements that makes us different from animals. Quoting from the famous Greek philosopher Aristotle, in his famous book known as the Metaphysics, the human soul stretches itself out to know. As it is commonly known, history is the story of the past. It does not give every detail about ordinary events, but it mainly shares stories of extraordinary events that happen in human life. The reason why is because such events are more visible to understand in their impact on the lives of both individuals and communities/nations. Because extraordinary events are more visible, they are more relatable to those who study them. For example, the American Revolution was an extraordinary event because it was through it that the United States of America came to be. Not only do we study history to learn from past events, but we also learn from people who lived in the past. Those who lived in the past were just as human and just as alive as we are today. Because of this, studying history also gives us the opportunity to learn more about ourselves and what it means to be human, even though times, situations, and places may change. Human nature does not change. We learn from both heroes and villains alike. For instance, when you look at heroes like Richard the Lionheart, Captain John Smith, George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Frederick Douglass, and Winston Churchill, as you could see at the left, is that these individuals, they inspired people. They they were heroes. They faced hardships and they rose above them, and they were great leaders. And also you can learn from the examples of villains like Adolf Hitler, Joseph Stalin, Mao Zedong, and Osama bin Laden, to learn about the evil that they have done and to strive to avoid the destruction that they caused. How do you study history well? This is a very good question for us to look at because it is important that you study history well. In studying history well, one must not treat it like a science. The reason why is because science revolves around experimentation and its pursuit for the study of truth. In studying the past, however, there is no experimentation with it. The reason why is because the past cannot be altered or changed, for the facts will always remain. It is important to remember that science is a unique study of its own in comparison to history. In studying history, we must avoid seeing it as a crystal ball in helping us to see the future. History does not give us a clear picture of the future, but it is rather a guide to help us to be prudent towards the future. We must also avoid looking at history through the lens of presentism, which is the arrogance that those now alive have created the most prosperous period in history. Lastly, we must be careful to not judge the past by today's standards. This is a very important piece of advice to remember, because it is easy for us nowadays to look at the past through the present lens. Even though the existence of good and evil is seen throughout history, it is not right nor fair to give personal judgments on who was good or bad based on the times we are currently living in. In order to have a better understanding of the past, one must walk in the shoes of those who lived before us. Last question: why Western history? Firstly, the study of Western history gives us the opportunity to study our own culture and where our unique ideas and institutions originate. In this class, we will have the opportunity to explore different periods of history like ancient Greece and Rome, the medieval and Renaissance worlds, the age of exploration, American history, the 19th century, and of course, World War II. In studying Western history, we not only learn about what makes our civilization just as human as any other civilization on the planet, but also what makes the West so unique. When one investigates the history of the West, one can see how its culture and ideas help to shape the world that we live in today. Like any other human civilization, it has its good things and not so good things. Sadly, like many other civilizations in human history, it has a history of slavery, imperialism, and war. Almost every civilization on this planet has those non-unique elements. But there are elements that sets the West apart, and which has helped to shape the world for the better. Those unique elements, as you can see right here, are bringing forth economic and political competition, the scientific revolution, the rule of law and representative government, modern medicine, the growth of the consumer society, and the improvement of the work ethic. The purpose of this course is to help you, the students, understand the civilization we are a part of. It is a civilization that is just as human as any other, with its flaws and its qualities, with its peaks and its valleys. It is by understanding what makes Western civilization both human and unique that we can learn more about ourselves and our role in this great enterprise. This will be a fantastic adventure for us to partake together. Let's begin. And before I leave you, there is one quote that you must always remember. Well, one that I always remember, but one that I willingly share with you. Historia magistra vita est. History is the teacher of life, as quoted by Cicero. History truly is the teacher of life, and it is my hope that you see it as a great teacher in your lives, and that you learn and grow in this course. Thank you.